We have 6 more days in a wake up until the NFL draft. Our last preseason waiver wire for the APFL ran yesterday, and FSA Hall of Fame member Jason Haislet will be in town with us next week. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. Nothing makes you panic more than hearing sounds come out of your headphones that you weren't expecting to hear as you're pushing the button to go live tonight for not only the live stream and then for the intro music. You come to find out, I had the YouTube window open also in another browser, so I was hearing myself as I was coming live with you all tonight. Let's see who's out there tonight, if anybody's with us. I see Ross Norris on with us tonight. Man, I cannot say words tonight. Words are hard. Ross Norris on with us tonight. Ross, how are you? Jason on with us as well. Going to bring Jason in here in a few minutes. I was just going to let it be a surprise, but heck, I said he's going to be in town anyways. We'll bring him in here shortly. I want to get through a few other topics first before I put the headphones on. So we said the NFL draft is coming up next weekend. We weren't going to talk about the NFL draft tonight because we're going to have a show next Wednesday on our normal, regularly scheduled night of Wednesday, not a push to the right Thursday. Our dealings with Aiken next week. We have a baseball game on Tuesday night, which is rare, not a Wednesday night. So we will be able to do the show on Wednesday night. We have to do it on Wednesday night because Thursday I will be driving across the state to go pick up Hall of Fame member Jason Haislet to be able to, are you doing the thing again with the phone? I see you down there, to go pick him up from Atlanta. And I don't think Jason's really going to appreciate how far Augusta or Grovetown and Atlanta are from each other until we have to make that trip on Thursday night. So we will be in. So we said we were going to talk about, we're going to do it anyways, talking about the NFL draft. So we'll talk about it again next week as well. So the NFL draft will take place Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week. That is the 27th, 28th, and 29th of April. They are in downtown Kansas City. They've already been taking pictures of what it's going to look like downtown. It looks like it's going to be amazing. It's probably going to be the best one we've seen. I feel like every year the towns are trying to outdo each other. Probably one of the smartest things the NFL has ever done is to move the draft around once they finally got it away from, I believe it was always done in Chicago. Probably one of the smartest things they've ever done. I got an opportunity to go down and see the one in Dallas a couple of years ago. It was super awesome setup. It was one of the first ones that I think they pulled away from Chicago. Might have been the first. I don't remember. But every year since then, it just keeps getting better. So Thursday night is opening night for the NFL draft. It will start at 8 p.m. East Coast time. I would love to tell you all the stations that you're going to be able to view it on, but it's virtually going to be everywhere. ESPN, ABC, look for it anywhere on the internet. Do a search on your smart TV. You're going to be able to find it. On Thursday night, opening night, they're only going to get through round one. Was it Radio City Music Hall? Thank you. I appreciate it, Ross. I knew. Was it always in New York? I thought it was in Chicago all of those years. Was it in New York? Radio City Music Hall? Man, I'm way off then. Where was the first place they did it after they were in wherever I thought they were in? Or are you saying that's where they did it after they stopped doing it in what I thought was Chicago, and maybe it wasn't? Way off base here. But they're only going to do round one on the first night. Starts at 8 o'clock. And then on day two, the broadcast will start. Well, broadcast will happen probably all day, but the actual draft will start at 7 p.m. that night. And they'll get through rounds 2 and 3. And then on Saturday, be rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7, and they're going to start that at noon. So there's your schedule. Go out and look for it on your TV guide, and it'll be able to tell you where you'll be able to watch it at. Hopefully Ross will be able to come up and fix me in all of the things that I'm saying wrong tonight. That will be good. We said the APFL waiver wire ran its last preseason waiver wire yesterday at 1 p.m. We had 4 teams participate in it. I think there was a lot of interesting depth that were added to those 4 teams that made a move in it yesterday. So that was very cool to see. If you're part of the APFL and you want to go out and see who was added to the teams, just make sure you go to transactions, look at waiver wire adds and drops, look over the last couple of days, and you'll be able to see what moves have been made. So that brings me to the time where I've got to put these bad boys on. That must mean it's time for Jason to come in. What do you got behind you? Is that the Kansas City draft set up for? That's what it looked like.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually here at a hotel in Kansas City as my arm disappears. My arm disappeared.
I don't know. I swore just before we went live you were at your church, but I mean I could be wrong. Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Okay, this is.
Yeah, you got to get me off the screen. I can hear myself. There you go. Much better. So you're in Xenia, Ohio right now. So you're not out traveling the world like you have been over the last couple of weeks. So it's good to be back home.
There we go. See, I'm back.
Back in the church. That was quick, man. I wish we could travel like that everywhere. But good to see you back home in Ohio. You are coming down here to Georgia next week, Thursday, yep. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then getting you back on a plane Sunday night to head back up to Ohio.
I should be landing sometime in about a half an hour next week.
It'd be what now?
I think I'll be landing about 9 o'clock next week.
Yeah, I think it's like between 8:45 and 9 o'clock or something like that. So yeah, and then we'll have the nice 2.5 hour drive back over to Augusta to talk about all the things.
It was like I think it was like $300 cheaper to fly into Atlanta than it was Augusta. And I was
absolutely. Eric on with us, and Ross says later Gators. So maybe Eric could tell us what the history of the draft has been as it's been moved around to all of these different places once it left. For some reason, I was thinking it was the University of Chicago or something like that on their campus or something like that, or some kind of hall downtown Chicago. Ross is saying Radio City Music Hall.
Do you remember being in New York for the longest time, and then
maybe I think Chicago was the first place it went to after it was in New York then?
Yeah, I think it was in Chicago for like 2 years.
Okay, that could be what it is then. Maybe I'm not going totally crazy and senile, but Eric, how are you, man? It's good to see you on. So we're going to get you here. We're going to be watching the draft live as we're driving from Atlanta back over to Augusta. And you're right, it is $300 cheaper to go through Atlanta. I will tell you this, though. I'm hoping that the GPS gives me better directions to get to you than it did to get to Misty whenever I flew her back home from Ohio, because I got lost. The GPS put me on the international side of the airport, which is actually still 8 miles away from where you'll be landing. And it was a cluster to go pick her up and then bring her home. She was already late getting in. We didn't get home till nearly midnight. It was a school night for the girls. It was a whole thing. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more luck. And yeah, it is definitely cheaper to go in there than Augusta. But I did tell her, no matter what on our side of the house, we will pay the extra money to go to Augusta every time after this because of how much of a pain it was to get her back home. Good. Glad to hear you're doing well. It's good to see you back among the living too, man. I feel like you've been radio silent for a little bit, so it is very nice to have you back. So you will be in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're coming into town. A little bit of a break, a little bit of a vacation, and then kind of also putting you to work. I'm going to take you literally to work with me. We're going to go check out some of the equipment that USC Aiken has to see if there's anything that we can use of that to make improvements to broadcast for ourselves for next year. Coming here, I think there was a glitch there for a second, coming here as well to see what we can do to help out with broadcast here for FSA so we don't have glitches like that anymore. And then I think Misty wants to put you to work a little bit too, using your brain as she's got a project that she wants you to look into for her and see if it's first possible and then what you would suggest doing it before she gets into it and doing it. So you don't even know that you're coming here to work. So much for your vacation.
Hey, man, I love her dearly, but it's away from the wife for a while.
You better hope she's not watching.
It's away from my regular work, working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love what I do, but when there's a demand and there's deadlines and all that stuff,
everybody needs a break.
Yeah. It'll be relaxing.
What if I can do this? Let me see something real quick. That way it looks like we're kind of looking at each other now. Sort of. I wanted to see if that was possible or not. Oh, stop it. Now you messed it all up.
You got your crown, I got my Coke.
Yeah, you know what? Those would be delicious together right now. The unfortunate part is I'm almost down with my crown, so I don't have anything else to mix with anything else I have in the house. So this is actually the first time that you have come to a duty station. We'll call it duty station because I'm still here at Fort Gordon, right? Since your trip to Hawaii. And that was the only other time that you had come to a duty station to see me. So Hawaii is a big deal. We got to see the Pro Bowl together. That was awesome. Back to Hawaii, though. Yeah, I'm so would I. And you know what the craziest part was is I had the opportunity to, and I don't know if I've told even you this, we're just kind of BSing right now. So I'll tell the story anyways. So the Army has decided this new system. Need anything while coming through Atlanta? So here's what we were hoping to do, Eric. This is me, hoping to get out of work early enough on Thursday for me to drive over to Atlanta. I'm pretty sure the Braves are away for that night. And I was going to go to their store and shop while I was in the area waiting for Jason, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. Because I love going to the stadiums themselves and picking up gear, just like I did when I was in Buffalo, did it when I was in Dallas. I've done it in different places I've gone to. And that was kind of the hope. And I don't think we'll have the opportunity to do it on Thursday, or when I take you back on Sunday, I don't think we'll have the opportunity to do it either. So one of these days, I already talked to Sean and Ty, and I'm going to go over and watch a Braves game with them sometime and see if I can't get over there and do it that way. Yeah, that would be the only thing, unless Jason needs anything while you're there, while you're coming through.
I'm sure my father-in-law would love if I brought something Atlanta Braves back. He's a huge Braves fan.
I'm sure if we drove around the area a little bit on Sunday before we got you back to the airport, we could find something. There might even be a store at the airport. Who knows? They usually don't, though. I feel like the professional stuff isn't. It's usually the college stuff that's there.
I'm sure Walmart in Grovetown has Atlanta stuff.
Yeah, probably. So, and you know what? It's funny that you say that. I looked it up to find out as well. According to the website, they are open even on non-game days, short periods of time. So I did look into that, but you might be right. I don't know. The same thing happened when I was trying to stop at, I think I tried to stop at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a college game that was being played. I think it was University of South Florida was being played there that day. So I couldn't get in. And the last time I tried to stop, second to last time I tried to stop at the Panther Stadium, they also had it closed that day. So I stopped through last time and was able to get on it. Okay. We'll have to look around there. I'll give you a yell whenever we're over there. Maybe Sunday on our way over. A lot of the travel on Sunday is going to depend on how fast we finish everything on Sunday. So Sunday will be senior day for the baseball team. There will be a story that has to be written after the game is over. And I think the plan is for you and me to go straight from Aiken, which is going to add about another 45 minutes to the trip over to Atlanta, straight from the game anyways. So we'll have to see what time we get into town. I mean, if we hustle right over there, we might have time to look around a little bit before you actually have to get on the plane. So maybe we'll be able to find something authentic around there. And I know you would know where the Atlanta United stuff is at, because I know you're a big fan. So if it's got stuff around it, that would be awesome. Might have to just give you and or Sean a call whenever we get over there and find out what we can find. So would love to go back to Hawaii as well. We talked about staying in the Army for an extra year to go to 22 years. Or at least that was a thought, or maybe more than that, because if we had another PCS, we'd have to go another 3 years. But the Army has started to do this thing where you can list the duty stations that are available to your rank, your position, your MOS, whatever. And you can rank them worst to first or first to worst. And something the officers has been able to do for a lot of years. And they just finally started doing it with the enlisted. And after I had already ranked like 9 of my duty stations or whatever, I got a call that said, hey, like 6 or 7 more have opened up for you. Re-rank them for us, please. And I had called Misty up and I said, it wasn't Schofield Barracks this time. It was Fort Shafter. So another base closer to some of the Air Force stations, more middle of the island than where we were at when you came to visit me at Schofield. And I asked her first, hey, if I put it number 1, cool. She said, yeah, of course. Cool. And I said, if I get Hawaii, do we stay in longer? And she's like, yeah, I think we stay in longer if you get Hawaii. So I get a call from my branch manager, who happens to be the guy that replaced me as a first sergeant when I was at Fort Hood. And he calls me up and he goes, hey, are you still retiring? And I go, yeah, unless you can get me that Hawaii duty station assignment. And he was like, I did. Crap. Because at that point we were still wishy-washy, even more wishy-washy than we were before. It was kind of like we're going to do it if we get it. And then we're we don't know if we want to. So I said, can I take a day or two to think about it? He's like, yeah, go home and talk to her about it. So came home and I was like, hey, remember how we said that we would go back to Hawaii if we got the assignment? And she was like, yeah. And it was like clicked in her head why I might be asking. And she goes, no. She goes, no, we're not going back. And I was like, okay. So I called him up and I was like, nah, man, we're going to retire. So I did have an opportunity to go back to Hawaii. Probably could have had a chance for you and Michelle to come out there together and see it. But Georgia is where you're going to have to settle instead, my friend. Anything you want to talk about?
I wonder about this Browns thing. They want to completely renovate their stadium.
Okay, so you posted something on Discord yesterday about this?
This is a few days ago, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of this. They're talking about moving them down to the Horseshoe to play in Columbus for a couple of years because they want to redo the stadium. Now, I don't know a whole lot about the Cleveland stadium, but is this still the original stadium with the slight upgrades they made to it? They haven't demolished this one or redone this one?
Well, it's still the original from 99.
Okay, from 99. Okay, so when they rebuilt when they came back into the league.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's only 24 years old.
It seats 67.
Okay.
67,000. Ohio Stadium seats 100,000.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at college stadiums versus pros, it's 1.5 times everywhere. Michigan, the largest one that's in the country, I think it hosts 104,000 now or something like that. So, yeah, that's interesting that they want to do that. And I hadn't heard anything until you brought it up on Discord the other day. So that is kind of interesting. I have to keep an eye on that and see what happens with it.
Yeah, I've seen it in more than one location now too. So it looks like it's gaining some kind of traction. At first, I thought it was just some guy being crazy, but it seems to be gaining some traction. So I don't know.
Here's a problem. Even somebody that's crazy that starts a rumor, that rumor snowballs, and who knows who picks up on it. It could end up turning into a real thing, right?
Think about the logistics on that.
Yeah.
I mean, would they flip everything to go from Ohio State to all Brown stuff, or would they just stay with everything Ohio State?
Okay.
Even if they stay with everything, getting all of Ohio State's players' equipment out of the locker room so they get the Browns equipment in there, that's kind of.
So Arizona did it for years as they played in either Arizona or Arizona State when they would move the turf in and out. So they did it for a number of years. It's not the same thing in this case. You're right. We're talking locker rooms and stuff like that. If they do it like Dallas, now getting the tour of AT&T Stadium was very cool. Not a fan of the Cowboys, but seeing that stadium was amazing. The way they're able to get things in and out so quick because you've got TCU and everybody that comes and plays there in the stadium, stuff like that. It's turf, right? What they do is they literally roll out pieces of turf. So the end zones are already created, printed, whatever, and they just roll it out. And then depending on what bowl game might be there or whatever, it's already pre-painted. So it literally comes out on great big rollers, and they literally roll it across the field to put it on the field. And I don't know. Somebody would have to correct me. I'm going to have to pull that up from Eric here in just a second. I don't know, is the Horseshoe grass, all grass, natural grass?
I believe it's grass,
yeah. Can we go over possible dates for draft, dynasty, and redraft? So dynasty, glad you said this because we're going to mention it next week, but I actually think I had it in the back of my brain and did not write it on tonight's script. So the NFL draft is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We are going to start the dynasty rookie draft, which is year 2 for us, on that Monday immediately after the NFL draft. So the clock will go hot at 6 a.m. East Coast time on Monday. It will be a 6-hour clock, just like we did when we did the startup draft for it as well. The clock will pause between midnight and 6 a.m. Picks can still be made during that time, but you get no penalty for the clock running over or whatever. And we will run it until both sides are done. The NFC and AFC will go at the same time. And you got to remember, I think the longest draft we've ever had as a startup draft was one of the other dynasties, might have been like Echo or Foxtrot or whatever. It took us like 13 days. And that was with 28 rounds. So I don't imagine the rookie 3-round draft taking very long unless somebody just decides that they want to drag it out for some reason. And I think the last person to drag anything out was me when we did Delta. And I think I was the longest picker for that draft, and I was averaging 2 hours and 1 minute per pick. So it shouldn't take us very long to get through that. The redraft is going to be in its normal spot, probably the third week of August. We always want to try to avoid my birthday first week of August, the daughter's birthday second week of August. So we normally do it the third week of August, try to get as much preseason in as we can. We used to do it on Labor Day weekend, but everybody seems to be busy on that one. Try to do it as close to Labor Day, as far enough away from the birthdays, deep enough into NFL preseason that we can make that happen. We'll let you know. Each one of those will probably be different based on region this year. There are going to be 6 regions this year, a total of 72 teams. I think as of right now, we're sitting with 65 teams, so we still need 7 more to come around. Matt Kroll, that's merging his Meathead League in with the FSA, just actually asked me yesterday or today how many more spots we need. He's already out recruiting for people for it and stuff like that. So if you're out there watching this now or later, if you're playing in one, and you want to come over redraft, or if you're just seeing us online for the first time and you want to know what this crazy thing is all about, redraft will be open. I think we need to fill another 7 spots. Okay, so this I'm interested in talking about, Eric. How about Atlanta getting an NHL team for the third try? Okay.
I want to know, when did the Thrashers leave?
Thank you. That was my first question. All right, Eric, educate us. This year, only 1 round of NFL cuts. May make sense to do it later this year. Now, are you talking about later for the redraft or later for the dynasty? Let me know that. And then also talk to us about Atlanta getting an NHL team. So this is news to me as well. It tells you how far removed we are from NHL because we've been so deep into you probably NBA more than me. NFL definitely for me, and then me picking baseball back up over the last year or so.
So did you see, speaking of NBA, did you see the first round schedule for the Cavs and Knicks series?
Are we talking about because of the play-in games now, or
no? The schedule that the NBA came out with. So I don't know where they're at staying at right now. They could have played 2 games Tuesday.
I think most of them have played 2 games already. Most of them.
Well, yeah, but the Cavs and Knicks, their first game was April 15th. If they go to Game 7, it'll be April 30th. 2 weeks for the first series.
I don't think the first series is 7 games. I thought it was 5, 3 or 5.
They're all 7 games now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Also out of touch. It's funny because we were talking about with that, 3-5-7 thing, how are we going to do baseball when it comes to playoffs for us once we bring in the APBL next year or 2024. So me and Gerard have been talking about that and what that's going to look like and how we might mess around with the schedule a little bit as well. Only 1 round of cuts means all the big names becoming free agents late. When is that 1 round of cuts going to be? If you've got a date on the calendar for that, let me know.
I remember hearing this. I think it's the weekend before the season starts.
Okay, so it's a possibility. Maybe we do push it a little bit later. Let me know that too. After the last game. So it's going to be after the last game of the preseason. Oh, man. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's, you and me, not tonight, but Eric, let's jump online tomorrow on Discord because I'll be home I just got to do some Army stuff tomorrow. Will not be in Aiken. My plan is to stay home and get some football stuff done. Kevin gave me a great idea. We'll bring it out here for anybody who might be watching. There's 2 out there right now, and I believe, Jason, you probably count as one of those right now, and Eric being the other one. So Kevin came up with a really great idea that I definitely want to do this offseason for APFL, which is, and I'm going to probably do it on, was it Monkey Survey or Survey Monkey, where the AFC will vote for the NFC teams after the draft is over and vice versa. So it's no bias inside your own conference. Rank the teams 1 through 16. Who do you think is going to be the division winner? Who do you think is going to go to the playoffs and stuff like that? And we'll use those as the preseason power rankings going into the year. And then we'll roll from there for it. That was a great idea. So I will be working on Survey Monkey to get that done next year or for after the draft is over. And Eric, I don't know if you had seen that or not, but I think that's an awesome idea for us to do it that way. Great idea from Kevin. Kevin says that's all he ever has is great ideas. But I think this was probably the best, greatest idea that he's ever had. Okay, so you sent me a link. Where'd you send a link at? Maybe on Discord? Or did you send it in a private chat? I'm going to assume Discord. Awesome. That's cool, man. Thank you for that. I was unaware of that. All right, what else we got? Well, this was only supposed to be a 15-minute show, but we've gone 10 minutes over that already, and I love just being able to BS with people like this. So, and look how much knowledge we gained tonight too.
I guess the Oakland A's are having some trouble with attendance or the fans or something like that. But I heard the fans are arranging a reverse boycott.
Meaning?
They actually want to sell out the stadium to send a message, and it's not the fans' fault. So I don't know what that's all about.
So I saw something on TikTok the other day, and I had to make a comment on it because if nothing else, I have learned my geography of the United States very, very well from all of the maps that I've put together for FSA, right, with all of the regions and stuff. And even if I hadn't, this one wasn't that hard to figure out. So there is a proposal out there that they do away with the AL and ENL completely. And then they just build divisions for MLB completely. And I want to say it was 4 teams per, 5 teams per, something like that. Kind of the same numbers that they've got now. And they would call them different things, the Pacific this way, the South this way, whatever. And as the guy's telling all of this, I noticed that Oakland's not in the Pacific Conference of whatever he's talking about. And in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, what's happening? Is something happening in MLB that I'm not tracking? Oakland's going away, Oakland's moving or whatever. And the guy comes down to start talking about, I guess it would be the Southeastern region, kind of the same thing as what we've got for the Dragons region. And he says something about Oakland moving to Nashville. And the Oakland A's logo is clear as day somewhere in the Carolinas, north or south. It's like dead center. But he says Nashville. Well, even if it was like in Tennessee, maybe creeping up on the Carolinas border, Knoxville, not Nashville, which is on the other side of the state. Daggone Nashville is in the central time zone. It's so far to the left. But anyways, I had heard a rumor that it's a possibility that they are going to leave Oakland sometime soon. It says
they could be like the.
That's true. Push it over on Discord if you've got the link. Do it there, and we'll look at it over that way.
They may be like the Angels, the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles, or no, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. It's like
whatever that is.
What is that?
Speaking of people moving around and stuff like that, it wasn't until I think I was sitting in Hawaii because it's been that many years, and Houston had moved to the AL. And I had been so disconnected from MLB that I had no idea. Eric, I just saw it pop up over on that side, so I know it's there now. And I just heard Jason Bing, so I know you got it as well. That they had moved to the AL. And it's funny, the Milwaukee Brewers, me growing up with them in the AL, being in the NL, that kind of got used to that after a while, right? But I'm literally sitting at Hobby Lobby tonight as I'm working on buying the green screen that's behind me, which is allowing me to be at whatever stadium this is right now. But I'll be able to teleport back to my room here shortly.
It's FSA Stadium.
What is it?
It's FSA Stadium.
FSA Stadium would be played inside of a castle. But we're looking at this board, right? And Leighton says to me, and it's NFL teams broken down by, I think it had AFC on the left side and the NFC on the right-hand side. No problem. Night, brother. Thank you for the info, man. Also, you got to talk to me about the Atlanta thing. This is news to me. I never knew that the Atlanta Thrashers weren't around anymore. So where did they go? Who did they become? And this is a very good point. With Vegas picking up the Raiders and continually trying to get sports there, I could see that as a very good possibility as well. That's a very good – I like that. But anyways, we're looking at this board. It's AFC on the left-hand side, NFC on the right-hand side, and Leighton is pointing, and she says, there's my team, there's Sissy's team, there's Nana's team, there's your team. Where's Mommy's team? And I said, she's over on this side on the blue side. Why is she on the blue side? I said, well, that's just where Seattle plays. Now, let's go back 25, 30 years when Seattle did play on the AFC side, and we all would have been on that same side of the board. It just her little mind not knowing, but it was kind of like a trip down memory lane, like how things have changed when we grew up with 3 divisions and there only being 28 teams before they went to 30, before they went to 32 teams. You know, it's crazy how the league has grown over even the life of FSA and things. So, all right, so I think we're good. Eric's gone. Yep. I think it means you and me are left as the 2 people online. So let's wrap this up. So, I put it out the last couple of weeks. I've been saying that I want some requests from the Alliance. I need headshots of you all. I need quotes from you all. I put an extra special request out there tonight on the APFL channel asking for the general managers in the APFL to wear gear of the team that they are representing as the emulation team inside the NFL. Like me, I would be wearing something Jets, or at least something that would be New York and green. For some people, that's easy because they have gear for their own team, but some people are GMing or representing teams that are not their fan-based team. Like Matt Kroll is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, but he's being the Tampa Bay Pirates. We have Kevin Godwin, who is a huge Patriots fan, but he's the Chicago Monsters, asking them to wear gear from that team that represents them in the APFL. And then Kevin was able to go in and do some graphic work that it just is beyond me to be able to make us wear whatever clothes really, really quick. So we might be doing that instead. But for the traditionalists that are playing on the redraft side, if you could get me headshots, waist up shots of you in front of a solid colored background, make sure whatever that solid color is, you are not wearing that on your head or your body so you don't fade in whenever I go to pull you out of the background. That way I can use it for social media blitzes this year. Headshots and quotes, please. Already said it earlier in the show. We'll say it again now. We will be back on Wednesday of next week, the 26th of April, because Thursday is the draft, and I will be driving to pick up the guy to this side of me over here. My finger's bent funny. That guy right there, Hall of Fame member Jason Haislet. I will be picking him up in Atlanta. And the last thing before we get out of here, I have to thank our sponsors. Thank you to Mondo and the boys for the recast, the official music of FSA. And thank you to Brandon Valinka, Nature Coast Apparel, the official apparel of FSA. Brandon, we got to get together and talk some more about that as well. Thank you, Jason, and I'll see you in 7 days. And thank you for watching the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel. If you liked tonight's show, go out and subscribe to us on YouTube. I don't know about the like and share thing anymore with us being hacked. I don't know how that works, but you can find us on all social media at iPlayFSA. Look that up. Look up Fantasy Sports Alliance. You'll find us. Remember, we are Fanatically Real. You all have a good night, and we will see you next week, the night before the draft. And I might even, that guy right there, I might bring him in, and we might do a surprise visit on one of the nights while he's here, and he'll be sitting right next to me instead. Jay, have a good night, and I'll see you in a week, my friend.
See ya.
All right, brother. Night.